KTN News, and welcome back as we continue to bring you the complete coverage of matters to do with the finance bill that will be presented to the National Assembly later today. But I wanted to touch base with our reporters on ground, that is Kevin Nyakundi, who is on in Parliament buildings together with Nicole Njuguna. But I wanted to go to Noah Kipkembo, who is at the Treasury, and touch base with him. Good morning, Noah. Now, today is a big day. There is the CS who will be coming out of those buildings with that briefcase. Matters to do with budget today. What are the expectations, Kenyans around them? What's the mood like outside Treasury building?
Well, good morning, Aseto. It is a very chilly morning, honestly. I remember back in the day when we used to have budget reading. Early in the morning, you'll see a lot of people around Treasury. We'll have security handling people to make sure that they're not breaking bounds as we wait for that momentous occasion where the Cabinet Secretary, or back in the day, the Minister of Finance, walks down the red carpet at Treasury. And then we see as he heads to Parliament to read the budget for the country, for, of course, the upcoming financial year 2024-2025. But this morning it's quite chilly. They're playing us music here, some very interesting music, of course. I think some of it is Kamba Africa music and whatnot, which is beautiful. But budget statement for the financial year 2024-2025, it is themed Sustaining Bottom-Up Economic Transformation Agenda, Fiscal Consolidation, and investing in climate change mitigation and adaptation for improved livelihoods. Now, that is a mouthful, honestly speaking. But breaking it down, first of all, there are these promises that the current government made under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. That is one. Question is, even looking at the appropriation of for the upcoming financial year, and also looking at the finance bill, how we're going to finance that year. Is it something that is promoting the bottom-up transformation agenda? Well, that has been debated. But apart from that, also matters to do with fiscal consolidation. So the government saying we're going to contain ourselves and, don't spend too much. But when you look at the allocations, let me tell you, the office of the president is getting a huge chunk. Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, all these officers in the executive getting huge chunks of money. But looking at the critical sectors of agriculture, talk about health, education, are they doing enough? We'll be getting those details, of course, from the Cabinet Secretary as time goes by. But as it stands, this budget is all about, like any household, I said, you have to look at the money you have. Then you look at the plan on how you're going to spend that money. So I have rent, I have some entertainment money on the side. But the money that I'm making is this amount. Is it able to take care of that? So in regards to where we stand right now. Now, on matters revenue, actually the government is intending to raise a total of 3.435 trillion shillings. This is in total, but from ordinary revenue, these are the taxes, and what we've been discussing on matters finance bill, it is 2.19 trillion shillings. It is something that is achievable because historically, we've always set the bar so high, and our standards are normally so high that we don't reach them. So we set this huge revenue target, and we're not able to actually reach those targets. So it's something that is of concern. But on the expenditure side, how we plan to spend our money, okay? So the matters to do with the expenditure, we have the executive getting 2.24 trillion shillings. Consolidated fund, where majority of it goes towards debt repayment, is 2.05 trillion shillings. Equitable share to the counties. The governors have been crying, we're not getting enough money. 385 billion is not enough for the 47 counties. So Actually, it's been increased to 400 billion shillings, and that is quite a huge jump. Then we have Judiciary 23.69 billion shillings and Parliament 43.62 billion shillings. So, right, so that's where it stands. So when we look at the money that we're planning to raise and the money that we are planning to spend, there is a gap because we're planning to spend more than we can raise. That's where the discussion about us not living within our budget comes in. So that difference is called the budget deficit. For this upcoming financial year, the budget deficit stands at 514.7 billion shillings. That is half a trillion shillings. So how will the government fill this gap? Of course, they borrow. And they're planning to borrow 257.9 billion shillings from the domestic market. So they'll float a bond, people to lend money to the government and whatnot, and treasury bills, all these channels that the government can raise money. Then we have external borrowing, 256.8 billion shillings. So this is looking at, and the government has said that it's very intentional. When they're borrowing externally, it should be concessional. So low interest rates to make it at least easier to pay as it stands. So this is our budget, and it's the budget day, Aseto. I'm feeling so good. It's still cool here. Later on, we'll get the sentiments of Kenyans on the ground, how they feel about this budget. Is it taking care of them when they examine the finance bill, when they're giving their feedback in the public participation stage? Do they feel that they were listened to? These are some of the issues that we'll be interrogating in the course of the day. But it is a beautiful morning. In the meantime, I just continue listening to some good Kenyan music that Treasury is playing us here. The National Treasury has wait for the Cabinet Secretary, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, to walk down those steps, and we have our budget. This will actually be happening in the afternoon. But updates, more updates coming up. We'll be moving around and having a good time at the same time, just making sure that we properly inform what is going on the ground. But Aseto, back to you in studio.
Noah Kipkemboi, as he continues to have a good time, but at the same time giving us the information that we need with regard to the budget estimates. But now we go to the National Assembly buildings, where Kevin Nyakundi and Nicole Njuguna are on standby